Hi guys, it's Nalan here with another video. Today I'm going to talk all about gearing. This information is gathered from community testing and I will explain all the gear in detail. I will also provide gear suggestions for every class at the end to make it easy for you. The reason I'm doing this guide is because a lot of viewers have been asking me what to build, if 3-piece Chariot is good, if they should go 5-piece Valiant, if Unforgiving Berserker is good, most importantly, is Unforgiving Breastplate best in slot for DPS? Those questions made me realize I need to make an updated guide that is based on real testing to give you guys the best possible HEXCHESS gearing guide there is. So before we get into the details of each set and their pieces, I want to clear up some misconceptions. Destiny activation, aka having 2 hex pieces while maintaining the class 5 set effect, is extremely powerful. Because Destiny activation exists, you do not need to go HEXCHESS 3 set on every class. In fact, a lot of classes are stronger by avoiding HEXCHESS 3 and sticking with class 5 plus 2 hex pieces. It can be confusing since in a lot of games, raid gear is the next obvious step in progression. But for our version of the game at level 60, this isn't true. China also does not have Destiny activation, so the recommendations don't account for 2 hex plus 3 class combination. Another common misconception is regarding stat balancing. In the game, every damage related stat will always have diminishing returns. It is very important to balance your stats across different damage categories. It is not good to have almost no elemental enhance and only a ton of crit damage. You should be balancing your stats across as many categories as possible. I will link 2 resources from boarhead.dg in the description that I believe is super helpful with gearing for people to check out. The first is an attribute optimizer which calculates how much damage you gain or lose based on how you change your stats. The second is a damage formula guide, which goes into detail on how all of the different damage stats affect the damage you do. With this said, I will now go over each of the HEXCHESS gear pieces and sets, starting with Unforgiving. Okay, so Unforgiving. As everyone knows, Unforgiving set is the support set. While it has some stat bonuses for the user, the main value of Unforgiving set is in providing raid-wide bonuses. However, the raid-wide bonuses do not stack, so having more than one Unforgiving set user in your raid loses value. Which class wants this set? Scytheguard only. While other classes can have the option of going this set if you really want to be the support for your group, you only need 1 or 2 of the set in your raid groups. The main reason why only Scytheguard should run the set is because Scytheguard is designed as support DPS hybrid. A properly played DPS Scytheguard will never be able to beat a properly played DPS class with equal gear. Her numbers are just unfortunately lower, so it is best to have the Scytheguard run Unforgiving to provide raid-wide bonuses to the whole group. Unforgiving set provides a very large raid DPS increase, and as a result is one of the strongest sets in the entire game. However, the raid-wide bonuses are spread out among all of the set pieces, instead of being entirely around 3 set effect. Also, when building Unforgiving, going 5 pieces, 4 pieces plus 1 other, or 3 pieces plus 2 other are all totally viable. It comes down to how many of the effects of the individual pieces you want. The Unforgiving 3 set provides a 10% damage bonus to your whole team, while they are about 50% HP shielded. It also provides the user some bonus stats like attack and pen. The value here is pretty obvious. To compare, the Scytheguard 5 set bonus is only 5% damage bonus for 8 seconds every time you use the dual moon buff. Now let's look at the Unforgiving Helmet. Generally, the helmet isn't very good as Scytheguard already has quite a bit of healing built into her kit. But if you think your team or raid groups are going to want the extra healing from its effect, this is a helmet you can consider using. Not much to say here, but going this helmet will come at the cost of personal damage, since many other helmets have better stats or damage passives. Then we have the Unforgiving Breastplate. This gear piece is nice in giving all of your teammates a little bit of extra defense. The personal stats are not great, but if you think your teammates will need some extra defense, this is an option. The alternatives in the breastplate slot aren't great generally, so you can definitely go for this if the defense seems attractive. And again, please, guys, no. Don't put this godforsaken breastplate on your DPS character.
Stop it. Get some help.
The only character that can use this and not get flamed is Scytheguard, okay? So we have this out the way. I don't want to ever hear again, is Unforgiving Breastplate good for DPS? So, anyways, let's go to the next one. We have the Unforgiving Gloves. This thing is a huge crit rate boost for both yourself and your raid group. 4% crit is generally really good and help your team is top off the crit rate to the crit cap. Next, the Unforgiving Pants. The Unforgiving Pants are very strong and generally a must to pick up. The pants has two effects. The personal effect is that it gives you elemental conversion for your attacks. This means you don't need elemental insignias or food to convert your damage. So a nice little bonus. The big team-wide effect is the 11 elemental resistance shred on enemies. This is the same as giving 11 elemental enhance to your entire team. This helps the team's damage a lot, so it is a must pick up. Lastly, the Unforgiving Boots. The Unforgiving Boots are also a must pick up for harder content. The personal effect is some extra pen, and the team effect is 5% defense reduction on the enemy. Pen and defense reduction are very powerful effects on high defense enemies, like in Legend difficulty or even Queen Elite, so this is a very good gear piece to pick up for Unforgiving users. The stats are also quite decent with a big 50 CDR, so that covers the Unforgiving set. Generally, you should just pick and choose the ones you like, but if you're entirely focused on giving your team the most raid DPS, going gloves, pants and boots as Unforgiving is the best. Pick up helmet or chest if you think it is needed, but otherwise you can consider other pieces for those slots. So this is for Unforgiving, and let's move to the Cavalry set. So the Cavalry set is set based around sustained high hit count damage classes. While it may seem like a lot of classes have pretty good combo count, the actual combo count requirement to make the set work better than most class sets is actually much higher than most people realize. From testing so far, the only two classes that see a genuine damage gain from this set are Blademaiden and Mystrix. There are some classes that can opt to go this set to make the damage burstier or front loaded, but at the cost of losing overall damage as well. You can also go this set if you're planning to abuse 2-set Warlock, but I will talk more about that combination when I explain the different best in slot gears for each class. Let's talk about the main cavalry mechanic first. High frequency damage. The game does not explain this mechanic too well, so let me explain. High frequency damage means that you cannot have more than a 0.5 second gap between your hits. Debuffs like Bleed, Scorch and Poison do not contribute to this hit count. This also means that if, let's say, you accumulate 7 hits really quickly, but there's a 0.5 second gap between the 7th hit and your next hit, you will have to go and start from 0 again. So the only way to reliably trigger cavalry is to have a 10 plus hit count skill or to layer skills with lower hit count and auto attacks. This is really important because this is actually how the Cavalry Helmet works as well, meaning Cavalry Helmet is not universally good on every class. Now let's talk about the 3-set effect. Cavalry 3-set sounds very strong on paper, but testing shows that the results are more nuanced. The 3-set effect is just some extra damage whenever you hit the 10 high frequency hit counts. There's an internal cooldown of 0.4 seconds, so you cannot trigger this effect more than 5 times per 2 seconds. The cavalry damage proc has a base multiplier of 600% and scales with the elemental enhanced you have, up to 1000% total. The Cavalry proc is also affected by crit damage, skill damage and elemental damage. However, from testing, the damage per proc has shown to be somewhat disappointing. Generally, a geared 50 to 55k character will see around 1.1 to 1.3 million damage per proc. More geared will see a higher number, topping out at around 2.2 million damage per proc for an 80k power character with 220 enhance. Let's put this into context. Assuming the 50 to 55k character and assuming we never run into ICD problems, that means you are getting 11 to 13 million extra damage every 100 combo hit count. While that may sound like a lot, this is coming at the cost of losing your class 4 plus 5 set. If your class 4 and 5 set gives you roughly 20% damage, let's say your baseline damage is 100 million, then you're losing 20 million damage to gain 13 million damage. So it's actually a damage loss. Testing has shown that a very few classes have the sustained hit counts necessary to make this effect better than their 4 and 5 sets. The two classes who do see a damage gain are currently Mystrix and Blademaiden. Now we have covered the 3 set, let's look at the individual cavalry pieces. Let's start with the Cavalry Helmet. This is one of the most talked about gear pieces because its effect sounds like it could be insanely good. The base stats of the Cavalry Helmet are really good, it's better than every class helmet. So even if you cannot use the Cavalry Helmet passive, you will still see a damage gain using this piece. Then let's look at the Cavalry Helmet passives. For every 10 high frequency hits, you will reduce all your cooldowns by 0.25 seconds. This effect has a 1 second cooldown, as explained before. If you cannot hit 10 hits very quickly, it is very hard to trigger the helmet effect. A class that will struggle to use this helmet, for example, is Starbreaker, since a lot of attacks are lower hit, slower and charge attacks, 0.25 seconds per proc also isn't a lot per skill, but it can add up to a lot of cooldown reduction if you can consistently trigger the helmet's effects. Generally, this helmet is best for classes that have 10 plus hit count skills on a low cooldown so they can cycle the effect consistently. Think Blademaiden, Magiblade, Mystrix. Then we have the Cavalry Breastplate. The stats are good, the effect is pretty good. If you can get 120 combo fast, this is a good piece to pick up, but it's important to remember that combo counter only lasts for 3 seconds. If the boss becomes invulnerable or teleports too far away, you can easily drop your combo count and have to build it back up again. The stats are decent, so this is usually a good pickup to round out builds. Cavalry Gloves. This might be the worst gear piece ever designed. Do not build this. Don't even think about it. Don't even think you can cook something, because whatever you're gonna cook, you're gonna burn the kitchen. Don't go Cavalry Gloves. So, next. A piece of gear you can actually build, the Cavalry Pants. The pants have a very solid stat line and a great passive effect. It provides 10% skill, basic attack damage when you cast it in the air, so for most classes this should cover most of the skills. Only Awakenings will usually have an issue getting this effect because, let's say Starbreaker, when I awaken, both my Awakenings force me to the ground, and there's some other classes that might get forced to the ground due to their Awakening. And finally, arguably the strongest gear piece in the entire game, Cavalry Boots. It has a pretty solid stat line, but its effect is the main reason this gear piece is so strong. Explained simply, the Cavalry Boots has 2 effects. The first is that it will convert your move speed bonus into damage. Every 10% move speed bonus will give you 1% damage bonus, up to 13% total. So to cap out the damage bonus, you will need 130% move speed bonus. But 130% move speed bonus is impossible to reach normally. So we need the second effect. The second effect gives you a 100% decaying move speed bonus whenever you cast a skill. There's no cooldown for gaining the move speed bonus, so you will always refresh it whenever you use a skill, including pet skills. The move speed buff works like this. It lasts for a total of 1.5 seconds, but for the first 0.5 seconds of the buff, the move speed bonus is 100%. After the first 0.5 seconds, the move speed bonus starts to decay at 10% per 0.1 seconds. So what does it mean? This means that if your skills are snapshot skills, you will always get damage bonus on the skills. Class that has snapshot skills will be Warlock, from what I know. If your skills are hit register skills, you will get the max damage bonus if all hits occur within 0.5 seconds after you cast the skill, and some damage bonus if all the hits occur within 1.5 seconds after you cast the skill. An important note, this is most relevant for Starbreaker specifically. The Cavalry Boots move speed buff applies to your character after you complete a charging skill, not when you begin the charging skill. This covers all the cavalry pieces and the cavalry 3 set effect. Generally, cavalry pieces are really good pickups to go along with your class set. Cavalry 3 set effect is not that strong currently, so don't get baited into building it. Let's move on to the last HEXCHESS set, Chariot set. The infamous Chariot set. To describe the set in a simple way, this set is a very situational set to build. It has value in very specific scenarios, but it is not a good general set to use. To really get mileage out of the set, you will need to be very well geared. Over +21 weapon in a group with similar gearing. Let's go over the mechanics of the Chariot 3 set effects. To make sense of it, the first thing to understand are what we call triggers. Each chariot piece has a trigger associated with it. When you activate the trigger, you get the base effect from the chariot piece. After activating the trigger, you will get a mark that lasts indefinitely, unless you die. The Chariot 3-piece set activates when you have 3 triggers, also 3 marks. The set effect will remove all marks and currently active base effects will transform to a new effect that lasts for 15 seconds. After the buff expires, you enter a cooldown phase of 24 seconds where you cannot utilize any of your triggers. This cooldown phase cannot be avoided using a death reset. In essence, the Chariot 3 set makes your playstyle much more bursty since you only get a ton of damage bonus in the 15 seconds buff and absolutely nothing in the 24 seconds after. This is where the set both shines and fails. If you can line up your cycle so that the set is on cooldown during max, you can abuse the downtime and end up with more damage than with a normal meta set. However, lining up the cycle is much more difficult than it sounds. Trying to align the cycle means factoring in your team's DPS, knowing all the durations of each mech, and managing your cooldowns very precisely. In a controlled setting like a static, this can be achievable, but in a pug lobby, good luck. With this understanding, let's look at the individual set pieces. Chariot Helmet. This is one of the best pieces in the Chariot series. It has a really good stat line and generally always better than the class helmet. The trigger for this piece is to use a finisher. The base effect is 8 seconds of 12% skill damage. If you use the piece as part of your 3 set, your cycling is now tied to the cooldown of your finisher. While this is not an issue if your finisher is the first finisher, if you use finisher 2 or 3, this can make your cycle much longer than the base 39 seconds. If you choose this piece as a standalone, then skill damage is a nice bonus for bursting. Chariot Chest. The trigger for this piece is to use a resonance, which is your Q or whatever you have it bind to. The base effect of this piece is generally has a low uptime, since it only gives you 8 seconds of crit damage bonus when you use the resonance skill. Most classes don't have a ton of resonance recharge, so they can struggle to use this base effect often. If you use this as a trigger for your 3 set, then you have to avoid using the spacebar to escape CC or get up, since this will consume a bar of resonance. Chariot Gloves. The trigger for this piece is to use a pet skill. The base effect isn't good since it has low uptime, so you wouldn't plan around it. The gloves have a decent stat line, but the main value is that the gloves can be a very easy go button. As in, you will usually use this trigger when you want to actually enter 3 set effect. Chariot Pants. The trigger for this piece is just use any skill. This set has a 20-second cycle, but it is the easiest trigger to use. The only downside is that the pants don't really have amazing stats, and a lot of the class pants are really good. Chariot Boots. The trigger for this piece is to basic attack 5 times. Honestly, this is pretty bad. Just don't build this. In general, the chariot pieces are not very good as individual pieces, with the exception of the Chariot Helmet. So you should only build chariot pieces if you intend to build towards the 3 set effect. My recommendation is to not touch the set, since there are a lot of practical issues with it. Most people are going to see a damage loss running the set, but that isn't to say you can't make it work. If you're up for a challenge, you can give it a try. This is all about the 3 sets that we have, and now I want to go through all the BIS items, all the BIS, combinations for each class. So let's get started. Okay, so let's get into the builds. What's the best build for every single class in the game? Let's start with Starbreaker. The meta build is class 5 plus Chariot Helm and Cavalry Boots. Cavalry Boots buff doesn't apply until charge finish, so full buff on charging skills. Situational is Chariot 3, Helmet, Chest, Gloves plus Cavalry Boots and Cavalry Pants. Well, again, I recommend the meta version. Cloudstrider. Meta class 5 plus Chariot Helm or Cavalry Helm, depends how you like it, and Cavalry Boots. Berserker. Meta is class 5 plus Chariot Helm and Cavalry Boots. Situational, Chariot 3 with Helmet, Chest and Gloves plus 2 SB. Magiblade, meta, Cavalry 3, Helm, Chest, Boots plus 2 Warlock. This combo is only really accessible for Way, since you need a lot of enhanced 220 Umbro pretty much. Option 2, Cavalry 3, Helm, Chest, Boots plus class 2. Scytheguard. Meta, Unforgiving 3 plus Cavalry or Chariot Helmet. Chariot Helmet has good uptime with A1. Cavalry Helmet nice to help a little bit with CDs, but not insane. Plus Cavalry Unforgiving Chest. Unforgiving Chest is optional, depends on whether you think defense or teammates is useful or not. Blademaiden meta, Cavalry 3 with Helm, Chest, Boots plus Cavalry or Valiant Pants plus Unforgiving or Valiant or Chariot Gloves. Blademaiden option after Cavalry 3 are really varied. Can really just pick what you want, but it's best to go hex gear still. Warlock meta, class 5 with Chariot Helmet, Cavalry Boots. A lot of stuff, snapshots, Apostle and Wing Slash both activate Chariot Helmet. Elementalist. Potential option is Cavalry Helm, Cavalry Boots and Chariot 3. And the other one is Cavalry 3 or Chariot 3 together with 2-piece Warlock. So the meta one is the 3 Chariot or Cavalry with 2-piece Warlock, and you're going Umbro, so you need 220 Umbro on Elementalist. Magician meta is class 5 with Cavalry Helm and Cavalry Chest. Mystrix meta is Cavalry 3, Helm, Boots and Pants or Chest plus class 2. Bountyhunter meta is class 5 plus Cavalry Helmet and Cavalry Chest. Situational burst oriented build will be Cavalry 3 with Helm, Chest, Boots plus 2 SB. Gunner.
Yeah, I don't know.
No idea. Actually, Gunner is a tough thing, but I've seen people trying Chariot 3 being the best option for Gunners with 2 class. But again, I just didn't find any information about Gunner, actually. So, Gunner mains, just class swap. GG's.